If you were walking down Los Angeles' Sunset Strip in the late 1960s, there was darkness in the air. Music wasn't just music anymore. It was poetry, ritual, rebellion. And right in the middle of all that chaos, there was a man in leather pants, eyes staring into abysses, holding his microphone like poetry. His name was Jim Morrison, but he wasn't just a rock star. He was a lost poet, a dark prophet, a soul that disappeared while searching for itself. No one could know back then that this man would become a legend in just 27 years and then quietly vanish. This is Jim Morrison's story, from Florida's sunny beaches to Paris's dark streets, from ordinary to godhood, from godhood to oblivion. 25 scenes, 25 doors, 25 poems. And perhaps for the first time, you'll hear the real story. James Douglas Morrison was born in Florida in 1943. His father was Naval Admiral George Stephen Morrison, disciplined, cold, distant. His mother was always silent. Jim was a child of a constantly moving family. Florida, California, New Mexico, Virginia. Every year, a new city, a new school, new strangers. "Where is my home?" he would ask his mother. His mother couldn't answer, because they had no home, only temporary stops. At age 4, he witnessed a car accident in the New Mexico desert. A Native American family lay bleeding on the road. Jim watched from the car, frozen. "Dad, are they dead?" he asked. His father said nothing, kept driving. But Jim understood something that day. Death was real, and it was everywhere, always. Years later, he said, "That day a Native American spirit merged with me. I've been two people ever since." Young Jim had no friends, but he had books. He read Nietzsche's Thus Spoke Zarathustra, learned that God was dead, memorized Rimbaud's poems. "I is another," Rimbaud said. Jim felt the same way, got lost in William Blake's mystical verses. If the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear as it is, infinite. Jim wrote this sentence in his notebook and added underneath, "I must open the doors." In 1964, he started studying cinema at UCLA, but he didn't love the camera. Too technical, too rule-bound. What he wanted was to capture souls, not images. He told his classmates, "I don't want to make films. I want to write poetry, but I want my poetry to move." His teacher didn't understand. Jim didn't care. He wasn't writing to be understood anyway. After college, Jim started living in a rooftop apartment in Venice Beach. He had no money, no food, but he had his notebook. Every day he'd go down to the beach, watch the ocean, and write. "Rider on the storm." No one knew what these lines meant, yet. In summer 1965, Jim ran into his old schoolmate Ray Manzarek on the beach. Ray was a keyboardist. "What are you doing, Jim?" he asked. Jim answered, "Writing poetry." Ray was curious. "Read me some." Jim, right there on the beach, recited the poem Moonlight Drive. Ray froze. "Jim, these are song lyrics. We should start a band." Jim hesitated. "I'm a poet, Ray, not a singer." Ray smiled. "You're both." While looking for a band name, Jim showed them Aldous Huxley's book, The Doors of Perception. The book described mescaline experiences. The doors metaphor was about passages to the subconscious, dreams, death. "Let's be the doors," Jim said, "because we're going to take people to the unknown." In 1966, they started playing at Los Angeles' Whisky a Go-Go club. When Jim took the stage, he became someone else. His eyes would close, his body would sway, his voice would speak in deep, hypnotic tones like poetry. Audiences were mesmerized. "This man isn't singing," someone said. "He's casting spells." Light My Fire was released in 1967. The song rose to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, played constantly on the radio. The Doors became instantly famous, but Jim wasn't happy. "I didn't want fame," he told Ray. I just wanted to write poetry. Ray answered, It's too late now, Jim. You're a star. Jim drank and kept drinking. The end was Jim's darkest creation, a 12-minute epic poem about the Oedipus complex, killing the father, incest. When he first performed it live at Whisky a Go-Go, he added these lines. Father, I want to kill you. Mother, I want to... The club owner went crazy. Get out of here, he yelled. The doors were kicked out, but the song became legendary. Jim was drinking every day. Whiskey, beer, everything. He'd go on stage drunk, forget lyrics, fight with the audience. One night, he fell on stage, broke the microphone. I'm not a singer, he shouted. I'm a poet, you don't understand. The audience was shocked. Ray cried backstage. March 1969, at a concert in Miami, Jim was drunk, very drunk. He took the stage and yelled at the audience, You're a flock of sheep. You don't feel anything. Then he unzipped his pants. Allegedly, he exposed himself. Did he really? No one knows for sure. Police searched for him after the concert. Jim was charged with indecency, put on trial. I just showed freedom, he said in court. The jury didn't understand. Pamela Courson was Jim's girlfriend, red-haired, beautiful, chaotic. Both used drugs. Both loved each other, but destroyed each other. You're my compliment, Pam, Jim would say. But maybe we can't exist together. Maybe we can only exist apart. Their final album, L.A. Woman, came out in 1971. Jim hated Los Angeles now. This city killed me, he said. The album included Riders in the Storm, Rain Sounds, Storm, Darkness. There's a killer on the road. Was Jim narrating his own death? In March 1971, he moved to Paris with Pamela. I'm not a singer anymore, he said. I'm a poet. I'll write poetry in Paris, and no one will recognize me. They settled in a small apartment in the Marais district. Jim grew his beard, gained weight. He no longer looked like a rock star. He was an ordinary man. In Paris, Jim sat in cafes, drank wine, kept notebooks, didn't talk to anyone. Pamela was worried. Jim, are you... It's okay? She asked. Jim smiled. I'm okay for the first time, Pam, because I'm not Jim Morrison anymore. I'm just Jim. The night of July 3rd, 1971, Jim and Pamela were at home. Jim was tired. I'm going to take a bath, he said. Got in the tub. Pamela fell asleep. When she woke at 6 a.m., Jim was in the tub, motionless, dead. Pamela screamed, called an ambulance, but it was too late. Jim Morrison died at age 27. Official statement, heart attack. But no autopsy was performed. Why? Pamela refused. Some said, drug overdose. Some said, murder. Some said, Jim is still alive. He staged his death. The truth? No one knows. Jim was buried in Paris's Père Lachaise cemetery. His grave immediately became a pilgrimage site. Fans came, wrote poems, drew graffiti. Here lies Jim Morrison, poet. Jim Morrison became one of the rock legends who died at 27. Brian Jones, 1969. Janis Joplin, 1970. Jimi Hendrix, 1970. Jim Morrison, 1971. All at 27. A curse? Coincidence? Maybe just the end of souls who live too fast. In 1991, director Oliver Stone made the film The Doors. Val Kilmer played Jim. The film portrayed Jim like a god. But the real Jim was more complex, more human, more fragile. Pamela collapsed after Jim's death, continued using drugs. In 1974, at age 27, she died of an overdose. Both at 27, both lost, both together forever. Jim's poetry notebooks were published after his death. The Lords and the New Creatures, Wilderness. People read and understood. Jim really was a poet. Maybe rock stardom was just an accident. The Doors' music is still listened to 50 years later. Riders on the Storm, Light My Fire, The End. Every generation rediscovers Jim Morrison because he's timeless, because he's universal, because he's the lost poet inside all of us. Jim Morrison didn't want to be a rock star. He just wanted to write poetry. But the world put him on stage, and he got lost on stage. Maybe he didn't die in that bathtub in Paris. Maybe he just passed through one of the doors and finally became free. So, which aspect of Jim Morrison do you find most intriguing? Share with us in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss another journey into rock history's dark corners.